This is the Sailing World on Water, November 5, 2021. These are highlights in the sport of sailing in the last 7 days. It's here. And it's from Persico, Carkeek and Pininfarina. It's the world's first, full-foiling, dual-purpose, inshore-offshore racer and daysailer. It's the Persico F70. The F70 is a new class of foiling sailing yacht that combines unprecedented naval architecture and performance, with iconic design and cutting-edge interiors, curated by the close collaboration between Carkeek Design Partners and Pininfarina. The 30.48-meter, 100-feet maxi, Comanche, was been confirmed as the overall winner of the 42nd Rolex Middle Sea Race. Skippered by Mitch Booth, the exceptional crew of 23 included in its ranks the likes of Will Oxley as navigator, Tom Slingsby, Kyle Langford, Shannon Falcone, Hugo Rocha, Justin Slattery, Willie Altadil and Luke Molloy. Not without controversy at the end, with the alternate finishing line evoked. One of the most enthralling and closely contested competitions in the sport of sailing, the Rolex TP52 World Championship is the pinnacle of Grand Prix monohull racing. The 2021 edition is currently being held in Palma, Mallorca. The Transat Jacques Vabre starts this coming Sunday from Le Havre to Martinique. We have yesterday's daily report. The other French Transat race, the Mini Transat Eurochef, has the 84 boats spread out heading in every direction, except home. The leaders in Leg 1 are featuring in Leg 2, although it's still too early to tell who has had it the best, in the light conditions. Keep watching our Boats on TV2 channel on YouTube for reports. It's back to Palma, Mallorca for Day 2 of the Rolex TP52 Super Series World Championships, where the competition is fierce. Last Wednesday, November 3rd in Le Havre, the Maxi Banq Populaire 11 of Armand Leclerc was baptized by its godfather Tony Estanguet, president of the organizing committee for the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris 2024 and triple Olympic champion. The finals of the Tourboule 293 World Championships were held on Lake Garda, and around 300 surfers, accompanied by their families and coaches, were present for the event that was postponed for a year. But last week it was 22 nations competing in Tourboule. Now, over to the Rolex Middle Sea Race highlights in Malta.
The 42nd edition of the Rolex Middle Sea Race enthralled. Record-breaking conditions, intense rivalries, and in face of the challenge, a true Corinthian spirit shining through. First home, and with it an outright race record, the American trimaran Argo put her name into the record books, registering an elapsed time of just over 33 hours. Just behind, the quest for the first monohull to finish. What a contest it was. Scorpios led maxi rival Comanche throughout the first half of the race, with multiple Rolex Middle Sea Race Line Honours winner Rambler in pursuit. Along the west coast of Sicily, Comanche took command, controlling her lead before arriving off Valletta to take monohull line honours, and set a new monohull race record of 40 hours, 17 minutes and 50 seconds. For the rest of the fleet chasing the clock, it became a heroic race in strengthening breeze, all the way back to Malta. Ultimately, Comanche's corrected time also secured overall victory and the third Triple Crown in Rolex Middle Sea Race history.
The Rolex TP52 World Championship, a Grand Prix yachting event like no other. an intense 5-day 10-race regatta where determined amateur owners and leading professional crews contest one of sailing's most sought-after prizes. Partnered by Rolex since 2017, the event returns to the island of Majorca, with racing taking place in the Bay of Palma, a location renowned for its excellent and consistent sea breeze conditions. Competition will be exhilarating and combative, with skill, tactics and teamwork paramount across an evenly matched fleet. Start sequences will offer a thrilling quest to exert supremacy. Short compressed courses will heighten the intensity of the racing, and the close quarter competition at high speed will demand flawless boat handling from all the crews, since even the merest drop in standards can compromise a race or the entire championship. An international fleet will assemble, aiming to dethrone Platoon, Harm Müller-Sprier's German entry, and whoever emerges victorious will have demonstrated an exceptional level of performance and consistency. One of the most coveted titles in world sailing, the Rolex TP52 World Championship, commences on November the 2nd.
If a morning climb up the mast in the middle of the Atlantic scares you, try the zip line instead. It's in the Transat Jacques Vabre race village and the kids love it. Eric Nigon, Clément Giraud have taken their partnership to a new level. 2 years ago in this harbour, Giraud's boat caught fire. Dreams of a Transat Jacques Vabre and a round-the-world race went up in smoke. I have a good friend who's a psychologist. He said, after everything that's happened to you, I'll help you with some mental tricks. You'll find a hidden gift. A year later, Eric Nigon, who was without a sponsor, lent Giraud his boat for the Vendée Globe race. This year the two have come together to race between Le Havre and Martinique. You have to look for the positives, in fact, that hidden gift. I hope that in Martinique, when we drink a Thai punch together on the quay, we'll have a really good story to tell. Not sure I'm a gift. We'll see in 3 weeks' time. Moored nearby, the boat damaged by that fire, and now skippered by Marie Taberly and Louis Duc, her friend of almost 20 years. Marie called me in March to offer her help to find funding, and then maybe to sail together too. I'd already sailed on this boat once. I found her healthful, very pleasant, great vibes. I needed to sail. This will be Marie Taberly's first major transatlantic race. Nearby, a digital display of boat art. Jean-Baptiste Epron is the artist with an eye for dressing up the fastest boats on the planet. I think the idea really is to dress them like haute couture, to do something that is both practical and elegant. That's the key to this kind of work.
Now here is the latest report from the mini Transat Eurochef fleet who set out on leg 2 last Friday. As has been the case for the past 36 hours, the 23rd mini Transat Eurochef fleet, with the exception of 3 competitors who are favouring a trajectory close to the Great Circle route, is continuing to zigzag its way down the Atlantic in a bid to gain more southing, and hence more pressure, whilst also repositioning itself to the west, so as to avoid sailing too great a distance. Everyone is trying to find the best possible compromise, whilst lining themselves up, as best they can, in anticipation of a long band of calm conditions, sprawled right across the racetrack, as they attempt to make for the West Indies. The challenge for the solo sailors will be to work very hard to sidestep this extensive light patch, stretching out to 20 degrees north, and try to slip along in a narrow corridor of breeze, just below that. As such, we'll have to wait until tomorrow evening, before we see the competitors really bend their course round to the west. Right now, it is absolutely anyone's game among the 84 competitors still out on the racetrack, in the mini Transat Eurochef, as evidenced by the big gaps that have opened out in the fleet's north-south and east-west divide, which has increased still further since yesterday, and will likely continue to do so over the coming days. The reason for this is a small stationary low-pressure system, lying in the middle of the Atlantic with, to its south, a band of calm conditions stretching out across over 100 miles. To avoid it, the sailors will have no other choice than to go around it, which will force them to head down to at least 20 degrees north, which is around 150 miles north of the latitude of the Cape Verde archipelago. From there, they'll be able to start driving westwards, an option which will finally take them much closer to the West Indies. In the meantime, they're trying to find the best possible compromise, to gain southing whilst gradually clawing back ground in the right direction, a very fine balance which is far from easy to nail. Right now, the competitors furthest south are enjoying a slight advantage in terms of speed, but all in all, across every stage of the fleet, the competitors are powering along at an average speed of between 7.5 and 11.5 knots. Among the prototypes, François Champion, boat 950, Porsche Taycan, is leading the way thanks to being positioned further over to the west than his direct rivals, which logically gives him the edge on the leaderboard, the latter drawn up in relation to the distance to the finishing goal. He is however making 3 knots less speed than the little group comprising Tanguy Burelec, 969, Tolek MP Pogo, Sebastian Pebelier, 787, Decasail, Fabio Mussolini, 945, Tartine Sands-Burr, and Pierre Leroy, 1019, Teamwork, who are sailing within sight of one another 70 miles further south, and posting double-figure speeds. It's fair to say that the speed differentials are less striking among the production boats, a category in which Cécile Andrieux, boat 893, Group Ardry, pipped Briac Lebic, 914, Veladrade, to the top spot at midday this Monday. The former is hurtling along at an average speed of 8.3 knots, which is the exact same speed as her rivals 100 miles further south, Loic Blin, 871, Technique Voile, Les Entrepreneurs du Golfe, Giovanni Mengucci, 1000, Alpha Laya, Gianmarco Sardi, 992, Antistine, Miguel Rondon, 1006, Christina 2, and Valentin Fouchea, 990, Mini Chorus, Care BTP. Gambling on a vein of breeze to the north. So, who has the edge? We should get some kind of answer in 24 to 36 hours' time. However, we'll have to wait a little longer to find out whether those on a southern option, or those on a direct course, will score most points. Elsewhere, close to the Great Circle route, Australian Christian Durant, 1015, Little Ripper, as well as Victor Eonnet, 525, Fondation Arthritis, Amiens Naturellement, and Antoine Bos, 825, Rhino, are a little less rapid than the rest of the chasing pack, but they are continuing to make headway at an average speed of over 5 knots. The name of the game for them is to tick off as many miles as possible now, because in 4 or 5 days they'll invariably begin to stumble in the calm conditions. Their mission before that point will be to try to hunt down a narrow vein of breeze in which they can continue to weave their way along towards the West Indies, without stalling too much, and, ideally, reap the benefits of a much more direct trajectory.
Well, a little bit of rain here in Mallorca this morning, a couple of fronts going through, so we are postponed ashore. We should get a couple of good races in the afternoon, 12 to 15 knots, great conditions. Well, the start of race 3, we're looking at Brunello up at the committee boat end of the line. Nice start from Code Zero at the pin end of the line. Good timing, but up the first beat, that good start from Brunello gives them the early lead, jumping out in the middle of the course. Good speed, we have 12 or 13 knots of breeze, and at the first offset mark, it's Brunello leading from Alegre. Looking good for Brunello at this stage with a big lead over Alegre. Provezza in 4th. Through the leeward gate, then it's round the left-hand mark, looking upwind, we're seeing Brunello, Provezza, Alegre, and then up the second beat. Still Brunello going quite nicely, but then round the top mark, Alegre, Provezza, Brunello have lost out just a little bit, and it's incredibly close coming down the final run between Brunello and Provezza, but big win for Alegre, getting through and clear. Quantum Racing coming back, Preveza getting second. Quantum Racing coming back for third, but it's incredibly close with the Brennusek coming in at the very last second with speed, impeding Platoon. And although they come through the line in fourth, actually they get a penalty, and Brennusek have to recross and lose 5 places for that finish. Race 4 get away with a nice start from Brennusek on the pin once again. Better start this time from Phoenix, but still not quite as punchy as yesterday. Early lead with the Brennusek on this left side. Out in the right, Platoon and Allegri looking quite good early on. And with the top mark, actually, it's Quantum Racing which leads with a good lead over Platoon. Penalty for Preveza at the top mark, impeding, I think it was Phoenix, but a real mix-up at that top mark first time up. Quantum Racing leading with Platoon through the leeward gate. Phoenix recovering with a great run, get themselves up to third place. Incredibly shifty on the second beat. That's the shape of things to come, really. On board briefly with Platoon. Platoon look to be in reasonable shape coming up this second beat, but this is really where it starts to go. All kinds of different shapes of difficulty, but around the first offset mark, still Brennusek leading. Sled made a nice recovery, coming round in second, and down the final run it looks to be between Brennusek and Sled. Brennusek leading, but Sled getting more pressure down the final run, just easing through Brennusek. So a win for Sled. Brennusek get through in second, then a close finish, but Gladiator getting third. Quantum coming away with a fourth for their second race, so solid day for them. And Phoenix coming in with speed at the very last second. To standings then, Phoenix and Sled are both locked on 15 points. Quantum Racing on 16, Platoon now on 18.
Yeah, well, it was incredible really, because we were just up and down. We got 2 really good starts, and then we didn't get to the top mark very well in either race, and it was flipping all around the place, the breeze. Yeah, in the end, we got back to 5th in the first race, and then we got back to 1st in the second race. Did a really good job on the second beat of the second race, got us into second, and then we got Brennusek in the run, so the finish, so we're super happy about that. But it's so close, and a long way to go.
So with 3 potential days of racing left this season, Sled leading on 59 points. Second are Quantum, 1 point behind on 60 points. Third are Phoenix on 62 points, and now in fourth, Platoon on 63 points.
Yeah, it was actually one of the most craziest days we sailed in the TP52, but I think it's normal given the breeze from the shore. It's impossible to predict what's going on. We sailed very well the first part of the first race, being in front, and then we finished 9 because we get a penalty on just at the finish line. Shit happens, and today was our turn. But then we recover in the second race. We were second, so. This kind of up and down, I think, will go ahead during the whole week.
Well, what an exciting second day of racing here in Palma. Sled coming away top of the table, and Quantum Racing have a solid day, but really such great racing. More of the same over the next 3 days at the Rolex TP52 World Championship and the 52 Super Series.
Grande journée, et puis surtout de le faire avec Tony, parce que moi j'ai beaucoup d'estime pour Tony, je l'ai suivi sur ses Olympiades, voilà, comme beaucoup de Français, avec beaucoup d'émotion quand il a remporté ses médailles d'or, et puis voilà, on est en contact depuis quelques temps, et je suis très heureux qu'il ait accepté ce parrainage.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh bah ça va nous porter bonheur, parce que c'est toujours important que la bouteille, merci Tony, elle se casse du premier coup. Donc il a rempli parfaitement sa mission, c'était la seule mission qu'il avait. Non, merci de nous mettre dans la bonne ligne.
Ouais, pour moi c'est une immense fierté, voilà, j'ai beaucoup d'admiration et de respect pour ce que fait Hermel, pour ce bateau. Je trouve ça fascinant, je trouve que c'est une prouesse technologique, je trouve d'inventer un peu le futur. Je trouve ça merveilleux, j'adore ce sport. Je suis ravi de suivre officiellement maintenant et de parrainer officiellement Banque Populaire 11. Voilà. Et merci Armel pour cette invitation. Et puis maintenant, je me dois d'être le premier supporter d'Armel et de Kevin. C'est obligatoire.